sit on something, either sit on a chair so that your spine is lifted, or sit on props that are high enough so that there is not a ton of effort to lift yourself up. If you're working really hard to lift your body up like this, then you're not high enough. And sit high enough, and it doesn't have to be cross-legged, because that's a bit of a challenge for some. You know, if you had blocks, and I keep saying I do have some props here. I think I still have 1 cork block and 2 foam blocks left, but I'm happy if you're local to lend you some, like a little library. You can sit in a kneeling position too, so knees are lower than the hips. So sit in a chair or on the ground. I can't see you, so it's the honor system. And then close your eyes for a moment and just sense and feel your body. Sense that you're here. Imagine you've been transported to a yoga studio and we're all sitting together. I kind of like that idea. And feel the connection with each other, even though we're not right there with each other. Feel this sense of cohesiveness. And know that every one of us is going through something. This is affecting all of us, whether we realize it or not. And I know for me, some days I feel happy, I feel very content, but sometimes I feel sad, sometimes I feel angry, and sometimes I feel guilty. And it's okay. I want to say today that it's okay to feel what you feel. So as you're sitting here, just tune in to what you feel. If you have to change your seated position, change that. We don't want to have any pain. You know, for some of us, some of those emotions that I mentioned are uncomfortable. So sitting in discomfort is a part of the yoga practice, not physically sitting in discomfort, but being aware that, hey, I'm uncomfortable about that thing, and knowing what to do about it. Do I sit with it? Do I change it? Do I wait till it passes? I want to spend a little bit of time here just connecting with breath, feeling the breath moving in through your nose and down. And then as the breath leaves the body, it comes up from the body, goes up through the torso, out through the nose. So tune into those sensations in the body of the breath moving in and moving down, the cylinder of the body staying steady, and then the breath coming up from the bottom, up and out through the nose. Almost like the breath is a piston with the body. Goes in, goes back out. So I want to focus a little bit on I touched on it a little bit in that you know, sometimes we can be feeling frustrated. We can become impatient. We can become angry. And you may or may not feel that, but you might feel something in your body that can lead towards that. So in traditional Chinese medicine, there are meridians through the body, and the liver and the gallbladder are partners, and the liver in particular holds your anger. So the practice today is going to be about moving in a way that might help to stimulate energy flow through the liver, through the gallbladder, and it's a physical focus of the side of the body. So from the side of the head, down the neck, down through the chest, down the outer line of the leg, body and leg, down to the baby toe. That's the gallbladder, and then the liver is from the big toe up the inside of the leg. As I say this, just kind of trace that with your awareness up through the inside of the leg, through the groin, up through the side of the body, but closer to the front, along the side, and kind of ends just at the base of the chest, near the armpit. So we'll do some things to stimulate movement here. So just one more moment as we sit here, take a long, smooth breath in, and see if you have an awareness of length through the sides of the body. See if you have an awareness of where the head is on top of the spine, and exhale when you're ready if you haven't already. and set some kind of intention for, yeah, you know what, sometimes I do get angry and I can accept that. This is the time when our emotions are going to be all over the place. So yeah, I can be impatient, frustrated, and that's okay. But may I today find a way to get energy to flow through. Okay, so now move your props out of the way. If you have a chair, move it out of the way, and we're going to lay down. You lay down on your back. If your upper back is more rounded, put a blanket or something underneath your head so that your head is forehead and chin in line with each other. Then bring your hands to your belly. And once again, another opportunity to check in with breath, check in with the alignment of the back of the body. This also gives everybody some time if it's a bit challenging to get down to the floor. Legs in a comfortable place. I'm gonna invite you to be comfortable here. Shoulders rolling back. And notice the rise and fall of your belly, if there is any. Notice the expansion and movement in your chest. Long, slow breaths in, long, slow breaths out. Start to even the breath out. This is probably one of the safest and, I'm going to say, optimal positions for the body to be in, because we don't have compression through the spine and we can regain some of the length in the body simply by moving through the breath. We'll just take another few breaths here. And while you're lying here, bring your hands up to the back of your neck and just give it a little bit of pinch and squeeze and massage wherever you want, up at the base of the skull, down by the sides of the neck. You can even come in on the sides of the face, so your jaw, this top of the jaw, the front of the jaw is right in front of your ear. This is part of this, the gallbladder. Come up beside the eyes and the forehead and the temples. Let's just start to stimulate a little bit of movement and a little bit of blood flow. Down through the tops of the shoulders. Kind of be creative. If it's difficult to have your hands in this position, you can take one across, do the opposite shoulder. How far back can you get? In this position, this upper trapezius muscle, the top fibers, I'm hoping are soft. Unless your back is really rounded, then you can lift a little bit up through the chest. See if you can roll your shoulders back a little bit more. Opposite side. And then once you finish and you feel like you've done both sides evenly, center your head and just lift your head up and see, is it centered with your body? Is that possible? And then lie it back down, and we'll do gentle rolls from side to side, starting to elongate the muscles on the side of the neck and down towards the shoulder. So if you bring your awareness, I'm just going to use one side as an example. So if you bring your awareness to your right ear, as you roll away from your right shoulder, feel a spaciousness move between your right ear and your right shoulder. Imagine that you have a little resistance band there and you are stretching it. So same on the left ear and left shoulder move away from each other. And the resistance band in this case is actually muscle, the big sternocleidomastoid, that big turning muscle. Remember we talked about that. I specifically remember Claire becoming aware of, oh yes, that's a tight muscle. So I'm not trying to go beyond my means. I just want to explore, can I move those two parts, the ear and the shoulder, away from each other? And what is my range of motion? Is it big? Is it small? Is one side different than the other? Then we're going to add to this. So as your head's going back and forth from side to side, and you can take it slow as you want. As your head goes to one side, start to move your legs towards the other side. Not a big movement to start. We're going to try to keep the pelvis and the spine in neutral. So kind of your legs become centered with your head, and then they both take their leave and go the opposite side. So we want to have an awareness of moving the legs and the head in opposition, but with the same control and speed. So starting to affect these lines that go all along the outside. So twisting is a big part of moving through the liver as well. On Monday's class, it was a bit of the focus, rotations. So it kind of takes some concentration to do this, head away from the legs. Coordinating. Now imagine you are creating length. So as you turn, I'll use the example, as you turn your head to the left, your legs go to the right. Put some space between your right ear and your right knee. Lengthen them away from each other. And then as your head goes to the right, legs go to the left. Imagine a resistance band from your left ear out to your left knee. Put some space between there. We're starting to open up through the front of the hips a little bit more. One more on each side. This slow, gentle work seems like we're not doing a lot, but oh my goodness, are we ever doing a lot? Come back into the center. Now gather up both your legs and bring them in towards your body. Look, I can do this and there's no crackling on the mic. Rock a little bit from side to side. Feel how you're shifting from one side of the body through the center, across the spine to the other side. And there's a lot of tissue in there that can be massaged. You can lean a little bit more to the side and start to get some of the side body massaged. Then come back into the center, hold your left leg in, take your right leg out, Appanasana. So Appanavayu is one of the Vayus, one of the winds. Oh, put my foot right near the candle. Felt warm. So it's a downward movement in the body that helps to eliminate. So whatever we need to eliminate from the body, it needs to go downward through Appanavayu. So here, draw your leg in towards you, curl your head and neck and upper back away from the floor, and then slowly roll back down. Then release your left leg, take your arms overhead. Both legs go side by side. Then we alternate. Bring the right side in. Same thing here. Reach out through the left. Curl your head, neck, and shoulders away from the floor. And then release and go back down. So do a few more of those on your own. If you don't want to lift your head and neck up, that's okay. If it feels like it's too much work or it's painful, you know, we always want to avoid the pain. We want to work in a range of motion that serves you, that makes you feel good. Why would we do pain? You know, and anger is sharp like pain. I didn't realize I was angry last week. It culminated in something, and I ended up having a really good cry. Which is sometimes needed to release something. I also went into the studio and practiced, which also is very helpful. Take one more on each side. Last one. Do one more thing here. Well, maybe not. Maybe more than one thing. Bring both feet up, or both legs up, so it's like you're sitting in a chair. I'm gonna have to move a little bit just to show you this. So it's like you're sitting in a chair, and take your arms overhead, Start to reach out through your left leg. If it starts to arch your low back a lot, just go to where you can maintain more of a neutral curve in the spine, and then bring it back. And then right leg. So if you need to, you can also go wider with your arms and come back. And left leg. And you know, with most things I do, I'm going to add to this right leg. This is just the beginning, and you can always come back to this. So now, as your left leg goes out, lift your right arm up. A little bit of brain gymnastics, so it can go all the way out like this. And then as it comes back, arm goes back down, left leg or left arm and right leg. Take your time, lengthening through the lines of the body. Don't have to do too many of these. And if you feel it's too much, you can stop at any time. Think of this as a pumping and flowing action through the body, also great for the lymph system. And then we'll stop and hold here. Take a breath with your legs in the air and slowly start to let your left leg go to the left. Let it drop open to the left. When you can take your arms out to more to the sides too. When it goes as far as it's going to go, it'll start to turn your body and your right leg will come over. So we go into this rotation. You go as far as you're able to go, as far as you're comfortable without pain. Then you lift the right leg up. So we're alternating the outer and inner lines of the legs back to the center. Then you go to the other side. I don't have space here, but you let the right leg drop out to the side until you start to roll the pelvis and bring the left leg over. Nice, slow, gentle movement. Back to the center. Using your breath too. Letting gravity help take you. No, thank goodness for gravity. We curse gravity and we are grateful for it. The earth gives us that. We'll start to feel that rotation through the spine. The last one on whichever side you want to finish on. Nice gentle way to approach a rotation at the beginning of a practice. Yeah, then bring your legs back down. Stretch your legs out, stretch your arms out, reach your fingertips away from your toe tips. And then exhale. Bend your legs. We're going to roll over onto the belly. If you're not comfortable on the belly, I'm sure you can do this on a chair. It's more of a cobra and shalabhasana or locust pose practice. So you come to your belly and we'll lay hands down like this. Lay your forehead on top of your hands. Like chairs in the way. Ah, I see what's in the way. This. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so you lay on your belly, hands like this, or you can have fists like this. And slowly start to create some tone in your low belly by bringing your two front hip points towards each other. So we're facing the legs straight down. And this idea that there's movement in the pelvis like this is not new. We just feel, sometimes we don't feel it because it's just such a subtle movement. When you bring the two front hip points towards each other, there's this toning and lifting of the low belly. If you don't get it, that's okay. Just keep trying it. Fake it till you make it. Then, I just don't want to muffle my mic. Then keep that as you firm up your legs, reaching back through your toes, creating really active legs right up into the thigh bone or thigh muscles in the front, the quadriceps. Then lift your forehead away from your hands, keeping the back of your neck long. Nice long back of the neck. Pause here for a moment and just make sure that you're still engaging through your abdomen. And then lift your elbows away from the floor. So hands stay down, elbows lift up, and we feel this engagement through the shoulders. Notice again if your belly has pushed down into the floor, and find that action of drawing the two front hip points together. Maybe your arms stay lower. The third part of this is to lift the hands now up to the forehead. Long back of the neck. You can press down into your hands and use your hands to pull forward through your forehead so the back of the neck stays long. And then we'll lower back down. 2 more times like that. So set up your legs, set up your belly. Hip points draw in. Head lifts up, lengthening through the back of the neck. Then elbows lift up, keep the tone in your abdomen. Then lift up your hands to your forehead. Forehead can press down onto the hands, and you can use that relationship now to lengthen. Lengthen from your armpits up through the sides of the body. And then lower down. One more, and I'm going to add something to this, because you know me. And we're working through the sides of the body and the neck. Once again, activate your legs, bring your hip points towards each other to tone your low belly. Keep that as you lift your head away from your hands. Elbows away from the floor. Hands up to your forehead. Keep reaching back through your toes. Keep pressing your forehead into your hands and pulling through the neck to be longer. And then slowly dip your left elbow down to the floor like you're an airplane. Rotating, coming back to the center. Breathe. Rotate, dipping your right elbow towards the floor. Opening up through the armpit. One more on each side if you can manage it. Belly is still toned and lifting. That's the hardest part of this. Maybe breathing too. Keep breathing. And when you're done, lower down. Have a rest. Feel your heart beating. That means you're pumping blood through the body. That's a good thing. Moving energy, moving prana. In yoga, it's called prana. In Chinese medicine, it's called qi. So now pick yourself up and we'll come into a table pose. If you cannot do this on the floor, you're going to bring your chair in. I think I've shown this before. In this position. So we can do almost everything. What you won't be able to do is go back into child's pose, but you can come back into a squat for sure. Or a variation of a squat. Again, just really paying attention to what your body needs. So we'll come into a table pose, lining up the shoulders just behind the wrists, pressing down with the fingerprints and the knuckles of the hands to create a dome and lift, that sense of lifting away from the earth through the center of the palm and through every joint of the fingers. Then start to push down and lift up. So one of the things to help move energy through the liver is a pushing action. So we're pushing the earth away and we open up between the shoulder blades. Then let gravity take the shoulder blades and drop them towards each other, towards the spine. What we want to try to avoid here when we're going up and down is a shrugging of the shoulders like this. So we want to stay soft and open through the collarbones. There might not be a lot of movement. Just take whatever movement is there and know that what you're doing is going to benefit your body in some way. It's going to benefit your mind. Push and release. And one more time. Come back to neutral, and then we'll change this so you have a little bit of the weight taken away from your hands here. Push down and forward with your hands to shift your hips back. Start to drop your tailbone down and allow your body to come towards your head towards your knees. Then we'll pull with your hands to come back forward and soften between the shoulder blades, lengthening out. Push again. So we're using the inside of the arms, the inside of the chest, the pectoral muscles here to help move, and then come back up. One more like that. Push. And then come forward again, and this time walk your hands further forward. Mine are about a hand length further than I was. So now I can open up a little bit more through my armpit and the sides of the chest. So same action, I'm going to push forward, take my hips back, and now emphasize opening up through the chest and armpits. Again, not shrugging my shoulders, staying wide and open. So you're only going to go as far as you're able to go. Then pull yourself back up. Same thing if you're on a chair, you just walk a little further back. Walk your feet a little further back. So range of motion that is pain-free for your shoulders. We'll do one more. One more. And hold for a breath or two. Hold here. Hips are heavy. They're not going to drop back down to your heels. We've got this lengthening, this opening up through the sides of the chest, through the sides of the waist. And then slowly pull yourself back up. Okay, so this next one can be done. You can bring your hands back. It can be done with the chair or kneeling down, and I'll show you kneeling down since we're here. Left foot goes to the left. Turn and stretch your right leg out. So we come into Parigasana. A little bit here, so I'm more centered. So you come up. If this is too much, if it's not great for your knee, you're going to sit on the chair. Sit on the chair this way. And stretch your leg out this way. So that was my right leg out to the side. So Parigasana, gate pose for the whole side of the body. I'm on my left knee. You might need a blanket there. My right leg is stretched out and I've got my toes turned forward. So that I'm only going to get so far when I am in that position, because my thigh bone and my pelvis will connect at some point. So we're just going to pause here just for a moment, opening up through this line. So this was the liver on the inside, the gallbladder on the outside. Down, have an awareness of a bit of a loop here. Think of a loop down the outside of the leg. It's more of a contracting energy to the baby toe, across the bottom of the foot to the big toe, and then up along the inside of the leg is a lengthening. One more breath here. Then we're going to turn the whole leg forward. Forward meaning that towards the right. And keep your heel up, or your heel down and your toes up. It's possible to reach forward. If it doesn't feel like it's painful in your ankle, you can keep your foot up. If you're okay going down, then you can go down. Another great way, I think I've shown this before, is to have a wall here where you can rest your toes into the wall. So if you're close enough to a wall, great. So then my pelvis is turned this way. I want to turn my rib cage. Pelvis stays here, rib cage turns back this way. So now we're adding in that rotation again through the spine. Lift your right arm up. Nice long side of the body here, and start to lean over towards your leg. Let your arm come down. The back of my hand comes to my leg, wherever it is. And if I have a tendency to hyperextend, push down through the knee, I want to have an energy lifting up through my knee, so I'm not blocking flow through my leg. Remember the down and the up through the outside. So now take your left arm right beside your shoulder here and reach right up to the sky. Keep that and start to lean over now. Now lengthening from the outer knee, outer left knee, up through the waist to the side of the body, armpit, right to your fingertips. If you find you're curling forward a little bit, slowly roll back without creating a back bend. But I'm okay with a little bit of movement forward and back just to explore the two lines. They don't completely merge, but they're kind of going side by side. This inner one comes up this way, and the other one goes down this way. With the intention of allowing the energy to flow. This is what we want in today's practice. One more breath. And then inhale and slowly come back up. Beautifully done. Turn your leg back down. Come back down onto hands and knees, or you can sit on your chair. And we'll come back into this long pose, lengthening through the sides of the body. So your hands go forward, your hips go back. We're not going to shrug the shoulders. I can tell. I can feel you all. You're just doing this so beautifully, so honoring of your body. Lengthen through the back of the neck. Then slowly lift yourself back up. And this time I'm switching sides only because of my limited space here on my stage, my downstairs stage. And right foot goes back behind you. Then you turn and come up this way. So at first we do the side of the foot, the side of the leg, and connecting to that, a bit of a circuit through the outer leg and inner leg. I've got some weird thing happening with a piece of hair. As I can see myself, I'm not used to that. Well, I should be now, shouldn't I? So we just want to settle. We want to feel what we feel. You know, this is so important to allow yourself. If you feel grumpy, if you feel frustrated, if you feel sad, feel those things. It's okay. It's okay to feel whatever it is that you're feeling because it's yours to feel. That's what you signed on for when you became a human. You might not have realized you signed on for that, but you did. So now we're going to turn the whole leg. Turn the whole leg. Pelvis will turn. The body might turn a little bit too, the upper body, until you're on your heel, either pushing forward or staying here. Lift energy up through the back of the knee. And then, so the pelvis is this way, rib cage turns back towards this side of the body, or this side of the mat. Then we'll start by lifting the left arm up first, and then leaning over. So as you lean over, we keep this right leg vertical, and we shift the hips towards the right. You might not go very far. You might need to bend your knee here. Totally okay. Maybe you go stay here. Maybe you're really quite high. Maybe you're a little bit lower. Then the right hand goes here, up beside the body, and then open up, lengthen out. Hip still goes this way to the right, side of the waist, side of the chest, up through the armpit, up through the side of the neck. So the head's not dropping. Lift it up and lengthen both sides of the neck. And we'll breathe here for 2 more breaths. This knee is lifting, open, roll open through the chest, maybe rock a little bit from down to up. We're going to try to do this without arching or throwing the upper body back. We're doing with a rolling, maybe here. Then push down, slowly come back up. That's the hardest thing we've done today. And then turn again. One last time. If you're on your chair, you can do a chair downward dog. Hands to the floor. If you're not, push back, long spine, opening up to the sides of the body. And for a moment, connect here. You can stay here or travel all the way back into a child's pose. And connect with a sense of what your liver, where your liver is, what it does. It's on the right side. It works really hard for you. You know, all the jokes that have been flying around about consuming alcohol. There's probably a lot of truth to it. So the liver is processing. It's got to do the filter work for everything that you're taking in. And so energy can get stuck. Okay, I wanted to come up and stimulate a little bit just with a standing pose. So let's make our way up to stand. Take your time, come up however it serves you, supporting yourself. And we'll take some time Use the chair if you have it. Good time to take a drink if you need one. I mean water. I'm not giving you permission to drink alcohol in the middle of a yoga class. It's not beer yoga. It's not wine yoga. Not even goat yoga. Okay, so then when you come up to stand, just take your feet about as wide as your mat. And I'd just like you to turn a little bit. And as you turn your body to the right, lift your left heel off the floor. And then come back and kind of notice what's happening with your opposite foot. Do you need to reposition so that you don't feel any turning or torquing in the knee? And we'll just do a little bit of a swing from side to side. So we've been doing slow motion movement. You know, I'm a really big fan these days of mixing up everything that you do. We need to balance it. We need to balance all the fast stuff with slow stuff, and steady stuff, steady like restorative poses. Let's also take one arm up and one arm down. It's a little bit of a rotation. And encourage this more of a pumping action through the body. You know, the lymph system doesn't have its own pump, doesn't have a heart. So it relies on us moving. And this is part of it. Okay, last time. And then slowly let your arms come back down to the center. Notice your breath, notice your heart, and then come back into the center. So you might need a chair here if balance is an issue or you're on carpet like I am. Bring your feet a little bit closer together. Then to make the same kind of connection with our feet that we did with our hands, I'm going to ask you to lift your toes up. Toes lifting up, the base of the big toe drops down. This is not new. If you've been in my classes, you've probably heard me say this 100 times, more than 100. Base of the big toe drops down as a starting point. It's the rooting action. You don't have to do anything more with the base of the big toe than keep it there. Then push your inner thighs away from each other without losing that big toe base. So try to widen your legs like you're trying to do that. So we're engaging through the outer hips. So liver on the outside. So we're engaging through that line. We want to squeeze and release through the whole body. Okay, once you have that, hopefully you've noticed you put a little more weight into your outer heels. Now you can keep that awareness of the big toe base and the outer heel and lay your toes down. The same actions are happening in the legs, I hope. I'm going to just make that assumption. But the challenging part now is as you shift your weight to your left foot, can you lift your right heel and still keep the left leg in that position with that action in the leg as well as the big toe base and the outer left heel? Bring your hands to your waist. Rest right on the top of the pelvis. And slowly move your right foot away from the floor until it's just one toe. And then maybe the whole foot comes off. So now we're asking a lot of the muscles of the standing leg, the left leg. Rotate your right leg out to the side without turning your body. So turning your leg wherever it gets to and place your foot on your leg. So push in. As you push your foot in, your leg pushes back. If it doesn't, you'll sink into your hip a little bit like this. So we're going to push in. And if there is room for you to start to slide up, engaging through the hamstrings, through the calf muscle. I'm not against you putting your foot against your knee. What I'm against is you shifting like this and creating some kind of artificial positioning where you have to take your body out of alignment and then try to come back in. I just want it to be just from what you have available to you. Push in and push in, create that equality, stimulating that inner flow of the leg and contracting through this side. So hands can be here. You can also take your arms up. You can also interlace your fingers and turn your palms forward and press your palms up. If you need a chair, hold the chair over on this side. And just use as little support as you need. This is tree pose. Lean a little bit over towards the left to lengthen up through the whole, sorry, towards the right, to lengthen up through the whole left side of the body. If you lose your balance, take the chair, and then slowly come back up and bring your arms down. Slide your foot down from wherever it was and place it back down. And notice what you're feeling. That whole left leg has been active. I can feel it up in my buttocks. I can feel my calf. The whole leg was working. I can feel like I was energizing the sleeve of the leg. So now come back to the center again. Feet as close as possible as what the shape of your legs will allow. And then again, go through the same steps. Big toe or toes lift up so the big toe base drops down. And I mean big toe base, this part right here. It's not the toe itself, it's this base, the ball of the foot. It drops down, we push the legs away to put more weight into the outer heels. We keep the big toe base and the outer heels, we lay the toes back down. Shift your weight to your right foot, start lifting your left heel. Hands to the waist to help give you some stability when you start to lift all the way up except for maybe the big toe. Notice if you're starting to hike your hip up and bring it back down level. Turn your leg out to the side without turning your body. And then bring your heel, your foot, to your ankle. You could always keep your toes on the ground too. That feels more stable. Start to slide up. Hopefully you've moved your chair over. Go to where you are not going to distort your spine in order to be here. And then you push and push. Foot pushes in, leg pushes in, and creates this lift. I don't know if you could see that when I did it. I pushed in like this, and I got taller. Then inhale, interlace your hands the opposite way you did the first time. Turn your palms up, arms up, and start to lean over towards the left this time. Lengthening and opening up through the right side of the body. Instead of just pushing from your fingers, lift up and lengthen from your right elbow. Breathe and open up through the whole side of the chest, the side of the waist. Know that you're doing this really wonderful thing for your organs and for your peace of mind. Come back. Bring your arms down. If you feel like you need longer on this side, if that was shorter, then stay here longer. Or turn and slide down. Or slide down and turn. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, forward bend so you can bring your hands to your thighs. If your chair was on this side, you can come to the seat of the chair. If you're not using a chair but you have blocks, you can come down to your blocks. If you like to use your shins, you can use your shins. The wider your feet go, the more space you have for your pelvis to tip forward. So wherever you need to be for your forward bend, take a few breaths here, inhaling to lengthen your spine along the front, and then exhale to keep it long and lengthen through the back. 2 more times like that. Inhale and exhale. Last time. Then we'll move the chair out of the way. Make your way back down to the floor. Take your time. When you come down, let's do 2 things here before Shavasana. First one is to find that same kind of Tadasana alignment in your body here. Lift your head up and check to see what's happening here. We've subtly moved through the head, neck and shoulders, thigh sides of the body, inner thighs. And walk your legs over towards the right. I walk my feet right off the mat, still keeping the back of my body, particularly the left half of my pelvis down, my left waist down. Then lift your left foot up, cross at your ankle, your right ankle. Then use your elbows like this to turn, walk over your shoulders and shoulder blades over towards the right. Then you can stay like this, or you can hold on to your left wrist. Feet are squeezing and pulling that way. Hands are squeezing and pulling in the opposite direction. You can even start to take your head over to the right. Since it's got support for the ground, you can take your head towards the right, centered between your arms, and then slowly turn your head up towards the ceiling. And then slowly turn your head down towards the floor. And do this a couple of times. And if you find a place where, oh, that's where I need my head to be, stay there for another breath. And then we'll release. Make your way back to the center of the mat. Notice the left side, notice the right side. Then we'll do the same on the other side. We walk the feet over to the left. Cross the right ankle. Use your arms and your upper body to arc you over towards the left. As best you can, still stay long. Then arms can come up. They can be out here like this, out to the sides, or you hold onto your right wrist with your left hand. Let your head find its center between the two. Squeeze your ankles and pull away, squeeze your wrist and pull away. And then slowly turn your head up and down. And then find a place where you want to hold it for one breath. Maybe it's turned down a little bit, maybe it's turned up a little bit. That's where it feels tight, that's where I want to hold it. And then slowly come back into the center, releasing your hands, releasing your legs. Gather both your legs up into your body. Rock a little bit from side to side. Okay, we still have 10 minutes. Okay, so now keep your left leg into your body. Stretch your right leg out. I'll switch this way. Stretch your right leg out. Use your right hand to pull your left leg across the center of the body, lengthening, feeling a stretch sensation, resistance through the outer left hip. This is a adduction action of the leg coming towards the midline of the body. Here's the midline of the body and the legs across it. So then keep pulling it across until you actually roll completely onto your right side. I'm going to scoot back a little bit here so I'm completely on. And I'm on my side. My left hand comes up behind my head. Then I lay my head back on my hand and I roll back onto my hand. Right hand stays hooked here in the knee, and I'm pulling my right or my left knee in one direction and my left elbow in the opposite direction. Again, you can turn your head in your hand. So we get the deepest spiral we've had yet today. Let the body breathe. So let the body kind of do this pulsation of moving into the pose on the exhale, moving out of the pose on the inhale. If that makes sense to you. I hope for the sake of those you live with, they have experienced any frustration or anger or impatience from you, that they will be so grateful that you did this practice today. And if it's the other way around, you've experienced them, you might want to say, do this yoga practice with me tonight or tomorrow. Okay, let's come out of it by rolling back over to the side, releasing your hands, straightening your legs, and roll back onto your back. Pause in the middle. You can stay in Shavasana for a breath or two. You can draw your legs in for a breath or two. Something symmetrical before we switch to the other side. It can be this constructive rest pose even. Then when you are ready, you don't have to go at my speed. You can do your own speed. There's room for that to happen here. Stretch the left leg out, right leg in. Pull across first. See, oh, this side's different. I feel tighter, more compressed inside the hip joint on the inside. So I can't go as far. I feel more compression. So I'm going to stay right here. And then you can continue when you're ready, pulling it across. I use my right elbow here, my upper arm to push to help give me some leverage. And then I can completely come over onto the left side of my body. On here. Anchor your knee down. Then left or right hand comes behind your head. Lay back onto your hand. If you need a pillow, put an extra little height underneath your head, you can. And then roll back onto your hand. I'm pulling down and forward with my right knee, and I'm lifting back and up with my right elbow. I'm imagining a resistance band that goes from elbow to knee, and I'm creating space there. But I don't want to do it and compromise my ability to have my body breathe in the pose. So I want to be able to allow the body to kind of settle back and go deeper, just on its own, just with the breath. Because that means I'm allowing space for breath and therefore prana or chi to move, especially right up here around the armpit. We'll stay here just for another 3 breaths. If you want to stay longer or need to come out sooner, by all means, do what you need. When you're ready to come out, take your hand out from underneath, roll back onto your side, straighten your legs, roll back onto your back. And then see if there's one more thing that you might need before Shavasana, including if you have your socks off, like me, you might want to put your socks on, putting a sweater on, or getting another blanket to lay over you, a blanket underneath your head, or even, you know what, I just need to do this, or I just need to do this. This is another great practice we didn't do today. It's a little bit of a butterfly-like wing action. Great for the inner and outer thighs on a muscular level, but also through the meridians. Gallbladder on the outside, liver on the inside, and they're partners. So then when you are ready, find your most comfortable Shavasana. If you only have one prop, a blanket, I would say support your head because of all the nerve endings there. That's a really great way to do it. Shoulders, head, neck are supported. If you have a chair, always put your legs up on the chair. Nice option too. It feels very decadent. And then once you're comfortable, see if there's anything else you need for more comfort. Hands either on your body or out to the sides. You can decide. That was a fast hour. I'm going to read you something based on the theme of the class. You know, this idea that we're going to feel stuff. Stuff will weigh us down, and How do we not let that happen? How do we feel things and let these emotions move through us instead of weighing us down? You know, and a lot of the focus was a little bit on the shoulders and neck today and head. This is where we feel it, through the shoulders. So how can we take that weight, that responsibility, and say, okay, you know what, I don't have to feel anything different, or I don't have to feel, I can feel that and let it change to something else. So what can you put down right now, willingly relinquishing the pointed quills of guilt or judgment? What burden of the heart can you lift? What dark corner can be lit? The candle flickering at first and burning bright. With the next breath, let it go. Let that old story you've told yourself a million times, whatever doesn't serve you on the path of truth, leave it behind. Offer this one gift, the simple sacrifice that in the giving sets you free to live fully. Hear the sound of my voice and let it begin to bring you into the space of the room that you're in. You are always welcome to stay where you are and have a longer Shavasana. Conscious relaxation is so important, especially now, when it really dawns on us that we don't have control. We don't know what's coming. And reality is, we never knew what was coming, ever, and we've never had control. It's not really any different. It's just right there in front of our faces now. So stay if you like, and if you'd like to, you can wiggle your fingers and toes and move towards your side, and then come and sit. We've never had control, and we've never known what was coming. Can we live that way? Is it possible? It might just lessen some of the frustration, might help us to let go of impatience. When will things be normal again? You know, they may never go back to exactly the way they were before, and maybe that's a good thing. We'll have new knowledge, new wisdom, new connections with others. So if you're sitting, bring your hands together and towards your heart. If you're lying down, just have an awareness of your heart space. Let us love and not judge. Because love and not judgment sows the seeds of tranquility and change from one soul. share. Thank you for joining me today. Happy Earth Day. Feel free to jump back in on the practice tonight. It will be different. Namaste. I hope you can